The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Issues voters care about. Where does Trump go? Migrant crime, carjackings, the really lurid, awful stuff that is a crazy, crazy visual. Don't take the bait, because most Americans are more worried about how are we going to address mental health issues, the visible homelessness that we see on streets, and how do we deal with mental health and other issues that drive the sort of random incidents that scare all of us. That's what you should be talking about. That's where you should be focused. Don't take the bait in talking about migrant crime or carjackings or the things that actually don't matter to that many Americans. And then go to the...
So far this year, the city is still averaging over one killing a day. Just this weekend, there were 3 homicides and 27 people were shot.
We still have a problem. We have a problem with illegal guns. We have a high murder rate. We need help with that.
The last was from Chicago, the first from Minneapolis. First verse you heard there was Insha Raman, who is one of the speakers at the big DNC confab that they're having in Minneapolis. Most people don't care about carjackings and violence. Talk about mental health. Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. Well, let's see whether the Democrats are right in not taking the bait. Welcome, my friends. Bill Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. It will be fast today because she is with us. Oh, the Ness of analysis, the Ness of everything good. Ladies and gentlemen, Her Highness is in the houseness. Princess Di is here. Welcome, Your Highness. How are you?
Oh, Sir James Ness, it's so wonderful to hear your voice. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. Yesterday, I asked you, I said I had 4 articles in front of me, too difficult to just go through elaborate, but I wanted your take on them. And then, of course, your fans out there demanding that you speak on this Bolton thing, because who gives a rat's ass what James says about it? They want to hear Princess Di's take on the Bolton deal. But those 4 articles, let me headline again. Cook Political gives Republicans the edge in the House for the 2026 midterms. There was another article, and of all places, the New York Times, a warning to their base, the Democrats, how the Electoral College could tilt further from Democrats. Notice they can't say tilt for the Republicans, further from the Democrats. Also, in the Washington Post, where democracy dies and journalism dies in broad daylight, how Zohran Mamdani is teaching Democrats to lose. And then again from Reuters, Trump's redistricting push could bring decades of Republican rule to the U.S. House.
It's so wonderful to hear them all together. You know what's interesting, James, that I've noticed? Do you remember, up until this year, 100% of the media was giving advice to the Democrat Party? They've always been doing that, and that's their perspective. They give all kinds of tips and hot takes that the Democrats should use. All of a sudden now, they're not giving advice. They're declaring catastrophe. They're basically in doom and gloom mode. They're saying everything is a ticking time bomb. This is a nightmare scenario. It's a catastrophe. It's a collapse. They're not even trying to help anymore. They're just basically throwing their aprons over their heads and running around saying it's over, which is so delightful.
I hadn't even stopped it. And you're right about those articles, how Democrats could avoid the coming problem. How should Democrats respond to a rising Republican bar? How Democrats, now it's OMG. All right, you look at these. Let's talk about this redistricting one first. Decades of Republican rule to the U.S. House. I even saw an article saying Gavin Newsom fell for it. The idiot, he fell for it. And now because of it, they're predicting that now other red states are going to jump in and just totally make Gavin Newsom the clown idiot for starting this warfare instead of just letting Texas go ahead and do their thing and just leaving it alone. Now he's going to engage the entire red states against this move that they want to do in California.
Yes, and the reason is basically because Donald Trump is a fighter. And he has basically taught, as he promised, the Republicans nationally how to fight. And this has become competitive. This was an unanswered attack by the Democrats for decades when they played games with everything, redistricting, with all kinds of lawsuits, election rigging, cheating, using illegal voters, using dark money. And the Republicans, as we know, it drove us nuts, would basically lay back and say, oh, well. And they didn't fight with the same intensity, although the voters wanted them to. And thanks to Donald Trump, who was the impetus behind the Texas redistricting, he said, okay, look, we have to have our midterms maintain power. Otherwise, it's going to be another impeachment, which everyone knows that's what the Democrats would do if they won the House. Within milliseconds, that's what would happen. And so he looked at the situation and advised Texas to look at their map, and they did. And there is so much of room now in there is over 30 states that have Republican governors and Republican legislators. And they can do this. They haven't done it before. The Democrats are tapped out. They can't get any more blood from that stone in any of their states. It doesn't matter what California does, because they're not going to be able to get much more as far as Democrat representation that they have already in Democrat states, because they've played this game for so long. However, there's a lot of room for Republican growth, and that's what the media is starting to look at, not only in the redistricting, which could be dozens of new districts that could go Republican, but also looking at the census and the Electoral College, which are some of the other articles you mentioned.
Now, that is the one I want to move to next. This article about the Electoral College. They understand, as much as they are moaning and groaning about this mid-year redistricting not taking place after a census, there is a census coming. And what is expected to happen in the census? Texas is expected to pick up even more red seats. Florida expected to pick up red seats. Utah, Idaho, New York, and California, the two biggest for the Democrats, are expected to lose seats.
Yep.
So even if Newsom stacks the deck further, they are still anticipating losses. Then we get to what's happening in Pennsylvania. Now, before you comment on all of this, I want you to hear two things, Princess, and then we can react to those because they both pertain to this story. The first one is there's an author, and his name is hard to find. I had it here, but I'll have to misplace it. Anyway, he wrote an article for CNN, and they had him on. His analysis, and they're baiting people with this story, and I refused. They make this story for subscribers only to hear the nitty-gritty, ugly details, and they want to charge you either $3.99 a month or $30 for the year. And I'm like, hell no. I'm not giving CNN $30 a year. Hell no. So I just got the clip. I researched the author guy. He's unimportant, but listen to what they're selling for their subscribers. That's cut 5, Carlos, but listen to this as the Democrats are meeting in Minneapolis.
The problem that he is facing is that the depression among Democrats is really there, and he has a lot of both mental and literal debts that he has to be paying at the DNC. There's been a lot of problem with fundraising, a lot of Democrats who are not willing to put the money there, and also millions of debt from Kamala Harris's campaign that I get into in the story up on our site that has never really been reported before exactly what happened, and even hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt or payments that are going to Joe Biden's legal bills for the oversight hearings that are on Capitol Hill. It's a lot of things that are coming together and making it even more difficult for Democrats as they are trying to figure out the way forward into the midterms next year and beyond.
What do you think of that?
Well, it's amazing because I think I know the story that he's referring to. It turns out there was this deal made with Kamala who got the Democrats to pay her ongoing bills. And so not only did she spend, and I read one figure today, $3 billion. In the past, I've heard $1 billion, and then I heard $2 billion.
What?
Now, the last couple of days, $3 billion she spent on this campaign, wasted. And now she has also gotten them to pay her ongoing whatever bills, and she's refusing to, in turn, work for them and campaign for them and go to give speeches for them. So she has caused enormous problems, and there's a lot of ill will now for her, which is all underneath the surface, which I'm glad he reported on.
Good grief. That's amazing. All right. So then you have this. Cut to CNN's pollster, Harry Inton. And man, oh man.
Four swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005. And all four of these key battleground states, we go out to the Southwest. Arizona. How about Nevada? Republicans haven't done this well since 2005. Oh, my goodness gracious, at this point in the cycle. North Carolina, I couldn't find a point at which Republicans were doing better at this point in the cycle. It's at least this century. It probably goes way back in the last century. And Pennsylvania, very similar. Republicans doing better at this point than at any point. At any point this century, at least as far as I could find. Now, what types of gains are we talking about here for the Republican Party? Well, let's compare it to this point during the first Trump administration all the way back in 2017. Look at this. The Republican Party gains in party registration compared to this point back in 2017 during the Trump first administration. In Arizona, you got a Republican gain of 3 points. Okay, how about Nevada? Up the hill we go, even though we're sticking in the Southwest. A gain of 6 points. How about, again, we come to the East Coast, North Carolina, a gain of 8 points for the Republicans. And in the Keystone State, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, again, we're talking
major points. This is not shaping up well for these people.
Well, in order to say how bad it is, I'm going to quote Jeremiah Wright and make the quote a little different. I think it is Democrats' chickens are coming home to roost. I think that is what we're seeing. This has been a long time coming when their poor governance, their basic racism, their corruption, their inability to run any of their jurisdictions without, enormous crime, enormous hardship for the people who live there. And they've been getting away with it, basically punching above their political weight for a long time. And now it has come to the point that everyone has had enough. Everyone is looking at it and saying this is a mess. Thanks in a good part to Trump throwing light on what's happening. He has cornered them into defending crime, defending illegals, defending fraud. And so now people are seeing the Democrats for what they are, and they're running.
Wow. Princess Diana, stay there, please. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media continues with Princess Di here. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And ladies and gentlemen, Princess Diana is here with me. We have just a few moments. I wanted to just touch base with you. Princess Di, Lady Benedict sent this to both of us, this from the White House. This Donald Trump trolling Cracker Barrel. I tried to imagine Bush 43's White House doing something like this. I couldn't. I tried to imagine Ronald Reagan trolling a company. I couldn't come up with it. This is so funny. It's got Trump sitting in the chair next to the barrel, like with their logo, and instead of the Cracker Barrel, it's America First. America is back. And he says, though, that this is a great opportunity for Cracker Barrel if they got billions of dollars of free ads if they know advertising, if they know what to do with it. There's never been anybody like this guy in the White House before, ever.
I know, and I can't help but laugh every time. He's having fun with some of this stuff. Also, I think he gave some sincere, great marketing advice to Cracker Barrel.
Yes.
Go back to your old logo, say we made a mistake, we heard you, and then use that opportunity to be great. I think that is what they should do, but they won't because they're leftists.
I mean, are we so sure that they won't? These guys are absolutely, I thought this was a 2 or 3 day story. This is turning out to be another Bud Light story.
Yes,
these guys are tanking.
Well, if they fire their current CEO and they fire their current management team, maybe, and they should do that. But I don't see that. I mean, they are way invested in this woke strategy, and I think they're on that train, unfortunately.
And speaking of that, really quickly, before we come back, I got some other sound bites for you to listen to. I love this thing, Make Cracker Barrel Great Again. But then the people at some of the progressive folks at Vogue, I think it is, they're ticked off because their editor they're talking about having the First Lady on the cover, and that has liberals furious. Unbelievable.
Poor
anyway.
baby.
Poor babies is right. We have a lot to talk about with Princess Di. So whatever you do, keep it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Fastest hour in America continues. Yes, we'll get to John Bolton and so many other things. In fact, when we come back, I got to ask Princess Di about Snoop. We'll be back. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
First, I have to remember you that coming September 5th, the Red Apple Audio Network's gala is going to be held in Midtown Manhattan, kicking off the 250th anniversary of America's special performances include Lee Greenwood, Christopher Macchio, Tony Orlando, Cousin Brucey, Joe Piscopo, Vinnie McDuno. There's a limited amount of tickets. So if you want to go, you got to get your tickets. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com, click the gala button on the top right. That's September 5th. It's coming up really soon, folks. The Red Apple Audio Networks Gala. For tickets, go to redappleaudionetworks.com. Click the gala button to the top right and make it happen. Princess Di's here. I'm going to get Princess Di to talk about Snoop. This is an unlikely thing that would happen. Right? Princess, Snoop. Okay, so Snoop was being interviewed, and he dropped this one on everybody.
I took my grandson to see, what was the movie with Buzz Lightyear?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz, the Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
Yeah, Keke Palmer is in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Keke's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, I didn't come in for this. I just came to watch the movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with. So it's like, I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of that I don't have an answer for.
Princess, how does this one rate in the culture wars?
Well, I think it's actually an important thing because he had a normal reaction. a normie reaction. And he has been hammered by the entertainment world, by the left. He has gotten so much online hate for that natural reaction of, I did not bring my grandson for this. And that is what all of us feel when you have a child there and you are introduced to areas that you're not prepared for. And I'm glad he said what he said, and I hope he sticks to it and doesn't apologize, which usually happens.
I don't think Snoop is the type to go out and apologize.
I hope not.
For this. Right. I don't think he will. I thought it was an interesting moment there. Okay. All right. Would you please appease your fan base, please, and give them, and I'm just going to shut up because it doesn't matter what I say anyway, and just, no. And then I get text, you're sounding very bitter. We just want to hear what Princess Diana's, why do you sound so bitter about it?
I want to know what you say, what you think. So
thank you, Princess. But no. They want to know what you think. So please tell everybody, Princess Diana, what you think about the John Bolton situation. I'll shut up.
Okay, well, I think everyone is wrong. And I am so happy you've given me this one little moment to explain that I think it is far more serious based on things that the president said, the vice president said, and a little-known article in the New York Times that all happened Friday and this weekend. President Trump was asked about this raid on John Bolton's house and office, and he first called him a lowlife, but then he said he's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. We're about to find out. We're going to find out. And this passed by so fast that, that together with some of the things that J.D. Vance said, where he said to Kristen Welker on Meet the Press on Sunday, we're trying to understand something that we're worried about. There's broad concern about Ambassador Bolton. Did he commit crimes against the American people? What we're doing is very deliberate and being very driven by the national interest. Now, I cherry-pick those quotes, but I think that they are of a piece with what Kash Patel said. No one is above the law while this raid was happening. And Dan Bongino said public corruption will not be tolerated. And let me tell you what this article in the New York Times, which put it all together for me. Here's the title: Bolton investigation linked to overseas intelligence. This information was collected by the CIA. John Radcliffe, who is the CIA director, he gave the information to Kash Patel, the FBI director. And so the CIA, as the New York Times explained in this article, is prohibited from law from collecting intelligence on Americans. But the CIA regularly collects information on foreign governments, particularly adversarial countries. When that information is collected during espionage operations, there are safeguards, but there are procedures to share that information. This is a very short article, very quiet. No one noticed it, but I'm putting it together with the things that the president said, that the FBI director and deputy director said, and the vice president said, that I think this is a national security offense of the highest order. Plus, Victoria Tenzing on Saturday texted, search warrants cannot be based on stale information. Thus, John Bolton had to have committed some act recently that was basis for the searches of his home and office. I've seen sources that say everyone's wrong, that this is based on the book. They're dismissing it as some retribution from an old book. No, there was information in the search warrant that pointed to the practice and habit of past offenses of John Bolton to show the context for this more recent offense. So I think that John Bolton is in terrible legal trouble, and we're talking about national security.
OMG. This was worth waiting for. That analysis I have heard nowhere else. And this is why people are devoted to listening to you, and with good reason. I'm one of those people, by the way. Diana, that's just amazing. That is amazing analysis. Let us see what transpires here. We have a few minutes left. One of my favorite things to do with you is to play some sound bites, get your reaction. Let's go to cut 17. Carlos, we'll just play it, and then the princess will say it.
Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him, Trump. No! Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him, Trump.
So are these people, these aging hippies, singing a song that they want to protect the Kilmar Abrego, whatever his name is? That
yes,
so
Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Yes, they're saying you can't have him because we're protecting him or something, and they're singing a song. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what you're hearing. They're standing out in front. These people in Baltimore, they have on their pink vests. They're standing. They're, yes, Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him, Trump.
Oh, my goodness. I wanted to add to, the problems and the nightmare that the Democrat Party have had this observation with the articles you had sent me, that really you've got a combination of what I call corpses and commies. You've got these old, low-seat, 80-year-old, about to leave this mortal coil, Democrat corruption. And then you have this young group of communists who are coming in. And that is the problem. Normal people do not want to be led by either group.
Wow. Okay. Now let's turn to Cut 14. This is Jeffrey Toobin, who's a good friend of Mrs. Palm and her 5 daughters. Jeffrey Toobin, yes, devoted friend of Mrs. Palm and her 5 daughters. Figure it out, Carlos.
All of this.
Well, this crusade, a criminal crusade against political adversaries, is completely unprecedented in all of American history. I think that's true. Now, when the Bolton matter, I think in fairness to the Justice Department, it needs to be pointed out that those search warrants were approved by an independent magistrate, both in New York and in Washington and Maryland. So there was at least some check observed. But when you look at the full range of criminal investigations, whether it's Senator Adam Schiff or New York Attorney General Tish James or Lisa Cook, the Fed governor who was the president attempted to fire today, whether that's legal is a separate question. Miles Taylor, who's on tonight. All of these are political adversaries under criminal investigation. And I should add to that list Barack Obama, whom the president said committed treason and is now under investigation. This kind of crusade against enemies is absolutely unprecedented.
They're all saying things like this, James. It's like they have slept through the last 4 years.
I know.
They think we have too. And they think that we did not notice the, indictments and the arrests and the prosecutions and the jailing of some Trump supporters and part of his administration. This has been
like
ongoing.
Peter Navarro, like Mike Flynn, like all these others. Like what they did to the J6 people that weren't even involved in violence or vandalism. Just there. And they threw them in jail for just being there.
And so it's amazing the amnesia that seems to happen. And I've seen this perspective all over the left, and that it never penetrated them, that what they were doing for the last 4 years was going to come back and bite them. And it has.
And it is, and we like the bites. We can't play the whole thing. Cut 7, we'll just play a few moments of it because it goes on and on and on, but it never gets any better than this.
Would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers, and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago. It's just not policing alone. Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not policing alone. You've told me everything else you want. I'm curious, and this does come down to an ideological difference between people. Do you believe
normal people
that
with
the streets
brains
of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
I believe the city of Chicago and cities across America would be safer if we actually had, affordable housing. Look,
okay, but that's not the question I asked.
That's enough of it. I just got to play one more, Princess Di, and then I will let you talk. Please have your way with. Well, no, let me rephrase that. Address Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago. Cut 8 very quickly, and more Brandon Johnson.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
Okay, enough. Okay, jailing people is, let's see, it's unholy, it's immoral, and it's racist. So putting people in jail that commit crimes, you are a racist, sinning, immoral, unholy person. You're a Princess Di.
Well, you notice how many opportunities Joe Scarborough gave him to basically say the common sense view, yes, more cops would help. His quote, "We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence," is just patently absurd. That is the only way you can get out of violence, is to take the lawbreakers off the streets and the dangerous people off the streets. And it works every time it's tried. And if he would do it, he would see the results. But he can't because he's a leftist.
My goodness. Princess, this guy is just, I don't understand how they stay elected, but they do. In fact, one of the things I'll probably play tomorrow, just very briefly, is, just so you hear the tenor of it, Carlos, that cut 11, a business owner, a business manager, I think another Foot Locker just got jammed up again. This is just
the whole
11
neighborhood
seconds.
is just sick of people coming into the neighborhood and acting like they can just come ravage your stores, take what they want to take, and then they try to make you feel like you're wrong for defending your property.
And that's the sentiment of a lot of people on the street.
Yes, indeed. And I have seen today that mayor's approval rating is 9%. So
9%.
9%. So he is in political trouble. And I think the population is going to do the right thing and vote him out of there.
Princess Di, so good of you to spend the fastest hour with us. Thank you so much. We look forward to the next time.
Anytime, Sir James. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So, on this day in 2003, Rolling Stone mag named Jimi Hendrix, as the greatest guitarist in rock history. Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, Keith Richards, Chuck Berry, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Ry Cooder also made the top 10 lists. Also, on this day in 1970, a party was held to celebrate the official opening of Jimi Hendrix Studio, Electric Ladyland. I've been there. Yes. New York City. Artist who went on to record, of course, Hendrix recorded at Electric Ladyland. So did John Lennon, AC/DC, David Bowie, Stevie Wonder, Frank Zappa, Guns N' Roses. And Edwin Birdsong also did a lot of his Supernatural album there. Great studio. Anyway, we got to go. I think, right? Yeah. Okay. Fastest hour in American media. On the way out right now for the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, and your loved ones. Love and gratitude always for your being here with me and allowing me to be with you. God willing. We are back tomorrow. In the meantime, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?